Welcome, welcome. It's Deanne Munoz, and welcome to another Sacred Soul Talk. So one of my things on this year is to take singing lessons. And not to sing necessarily, but that would be awesome. But just to hold a note.
Okay.
It's just one note.
Okay.
So at least when I'm like, soul ta, it's not like, eh. It's
That
just
actually
like
sounded good, though.
kind
Yeah,
of thing.
I
Okay, so
like
that's
it.
on my list, you guys.
Wow.
Hello, welcome. We have our special guest today. We have Monica. Woo! Okay, but first, what we're going to do before we even start, we are going to set our intentions, our prayers, and our manifestations for this podcast so that we could take ego out of it and bring God in.
Let's do it.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we're all going to hold hands. Everyone's going to close their eyes. I want everybody to drop into their hearts. I want you to slow down. Be present. I want you to clear your mind of anything that's heavy right now. Clear your body. I want you to relax your shoulders, your forehead, your mouth, your jaw, your hands, your thighs. We're going to be present with spirit, with the divine, with source, that we are simply a vessel that we can transmute there and communicate whatever messages need to come out. May we be a pen in the hand of God, writing the world a love letter. Mother Teresa said that at her when she accepted the Nobel Peace Prize, and I love that. Okay, I want you everyone to take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Ooh, shake it off. Shake off any anxiety, any nervousness, anything heavy from this week. Shake it off, you guys. Be present. We're going to take another deep breath in. Breathe in love, light, peace, tranquility as we recenter and recalibrate every cell in our body. Take a deep breath out. Release. Release, 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 release. We're going to take another deep breath in. Breathe in love, light, high frequency, golden glitter, magic into your heart, into your soul. And breathe out the last remnants of any fear, anxiety, nervousness. Dear Heavenly Father, dear Holy Spirit, dear the divine, dear ancestors, dear loved ones who have passed over, dear our spirit team, archangels who protect us, we are calling you in. We call in our future selves 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and 30 years from now. We ask that today you use us as an instrument to reach out to the collective, any messages that need to be said to them, anything that you have been trying to get them to see, allow us to be able to speak that they will leave this podcast touched, moved, and inspired in a deep and powerful way. We thank you for being here. We are grateful that we are able to be sober and present to spirit, to our future selves, to our future family, that we may inspire. And so it is. Let it begin.
So it is.
Okay, so this is what I like to do when we first start. Okay, so we have these prayer boxes.
Okay.
And look how cute. What does it
Very
say?
cute.
Prayer box.
Prayer box.
Okay, so the prayer box says, when your head starts to worry and your mind just can't rest, put your prayers down on paper and let God do the rest. So what I do every time I have a guest and you're in the presence of God and Spirit here, I would love for you to write down a prayer or a manifestation. Okay?
Okay.
So whatever you feel is something right now that you're either really working on manifesting, write it down. Oh, yeah. Like this, babe. Look.
Oh,
At
sorry.
you. Yeah, there you go.
Sorry. I was busy praying. I was busy praying.
Yeah, so what you're going to do is I want you to start embodying unbelievable miracles. Like you are the unbelievable miracle. If everything and anything is possible 100% of the time, right now, I want you to be able to quantum leap into a new timeline. So you're going to write out this manifestation and we're going to put it under your candle. And then you're going to light your candle. And that's going to be your candle. And we have everyone else's prayers that have been here. And this is our prayer altar, you guys, where we are creating unbelievable miracles and prayer boxes. So every week during my stories on Instagram, I always post a candle with a little prayer box. And I always say, what would you like for me to pray? Know that all of those prayers all go into our prayer altar. So next time you see me post one, make sure you throw your prayers in and know that they're included, that I am praying with you and we're holding space for these.
Okay.
Okay, so while she does that, you know what we do, you guys? We are going to do a 3-card draw for a spiritual message from the Oracle cards. Woohoo! All righty. Monica's like, here I am.
I haven't seen this part yet. Should I be scared or in a good way?
Well, if our hair starts on fire.
Okay.
Don't worry, we won't die. But don't worry. Okay, guys. So we are going to ask the divine, ask our future selves, ask our loved ones to come through in these cards and help guide us for a message of the day, of the week, until our next podcast. So whatever message comes here, it needs to be heard by whoever it needs to be heard by. Remember, it's a collective reading, so there's going to be thousands of people watching this. It's not always going to be for you. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't.
I've heard that somewhere before.
Right?
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, that's an amazing principle to take into life. Take what works for you. If something doesn't, who cares? Leave it. Don't be bothered by it. People stress themselves out over things that are none of their business. Just take what you like. If you don't like somebody, what's one thing you like about them? Their hair, their car. Just focus on that. There's just no space to even entertain negativity. Okay, here we go, guys. First card is Sarasvati. Express yourself through creative activities. Next card is Sacred Space. And what is our podcast called? Sacred Soul Talk. Create an altar or visit a power place to connect with the divine. Okay, so what I'm already taking from that, which Spirit's already telling me, this is simply, oh, look, I'm getting chills. This is simply, I'm getting chills. Ah! So chills is when they're speaking to you.
Right.
So this is literally everyone's loved ones, the divine, your future self, literally saying, you called me in, I'm here. Here is proof that I'm here. Create an altar or visit a power place to connect with the divine. So they're letting you know right now they're connected, they're present. What I'm also hearing and seeing is create your own altar at home. Create your own sacred space at home. Be it even like a little corner in your desk. Get a little candle, a little stone, maybe photos of your ancestors, of your, of Jesus, of Mother Mary, or whatever you just inspires you. And maybe like a little Palo Santo. And they have little mini sound bowls where you can set the tone as well. Again, I think we had this on the last one. They're still telling you guys, create a sacred spot, you guys, which is your own altar. Boom. The first one is express yourself through the creative arts. I'm going to see what comes through on that one for me. Next one.
What? I was like, uh-oh.
I don't know. Every time I hear the word passion, I think of a Scorpio.
Thank you. I knew it. I knew it was coming this way. It's not all about me, but it is.
This is Pali, divine passion. Mm-hmm. She looks like a goddess in front of a volcano that's erupting, and she's in the fire. And what did I just say? If my hair starts on fire, don't worry, I'll be okay.
See? Look at that.
Look at everything's spirits coming through. The message is be honest with yourself. What is your heart's true desire? Okay, that's already coming through for me in regards to express yourself through creative activities. So the message I'm getting is there's someone out there where there's an idea birthing in your head. There's a seed that's been planted. There's something in, I want to say right now, you're probably feeling it like like a knot in your throat, like an apple, because it's something you want to do, but you haven't. And you're holding it like, oh, how does she know it's me? So this is spirit simply saying to follow it. Creative activities. What is something that you're creating, whether it's a dream, whether it's a business, whether it's family, something new. You're creating it. Spirit has already said they're here. This is me. You called me in. Here's your message. Express yourself. That creative endeavor, I'm telling you, I'm going to be guiding that endeavor. Listen, be honest with yourself. What is your heart's true desire? This creative dream, whatever's birthing new, this idea. I'm also hearing like family, like you're birthing a new family. That's your heart's desire. Follow your heart's desire. Whatever you're creating new, whatever this new path is, Spirit is saying, ooh, there's going to be divine passion with it. Oh, I'm over here. There's going to be divine passion with it. I'm hearing this is very passionate. I'm almost feeling like family life, maybe like a new family life, new love. Mm-hmm. You know what? Okay,
Jasmine.
Oh my God, you guys. Okay. Whoa.
I was going to say something, but I want to.
I'm trying to get this up. Okay. I'm going to give you guys an example of this.
Okay.
Holy moly, this was for me, you guys. Well, I'm sure it's for everybody, but right now.
Right now, it's all about us.
It just came to me like how it's been affecting me. Okay, you guys. Okay, like divine passion. Be honest with yourself. What is your heart's true desire? So where I'm at right now in my program Rebirth is who was I before all the pain? Before the heartbreak. You know the heartbreaks we have in relationships? And then you turn your heart off. And there's this trauma that you're just like, I'm never going to be that loving again. I'm never going to put my heart out. And even though maybe you start dating or meet other people, it's like everyone's first love, I feel like. When you hear about someone's first love in high school, it's so passionate and like, I love the word like needy codependent, because I used to think that was a weak word. But now it's like, to me, it's an empowering word that someone could have their heart cracked so wide open that they're just like, my soul is here, take it. Like,
and then do it again.
Yes.
And then do it again.
It's freaking beautiful. Like, I wish to be, like, I desire to be that. So that's what I'm creating right now in my life with myself in regards to love. It's Deanne. Who was Deanne before my divorce, before the deceit and the betrayal and the lies, you know, and like feeling like I'm like, my whole dreams were like crashed.
Right.
And it's like, no, they weren't. I still can create those. But who do I need to be to attract that?
Right.
I need to be who I was before my marriage, when, you know, her dad always asks me, whatever happened to that girl I first met? And I'm like, you did this to her, you did that. And the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter what anyone does to you. I'm still responsible for who I choose to be.
Right.
And I've never been that girl ever again since him. Ever. So now when I'm dating, I'm doing things that are very passionate. Like, I want to write love letters. I want to dedicate songs. I want to make, you know,
A playlist.
eat a playlist. I want to
Right.
have like red roses going to like a romantic dinner setting. Like, like things that people did when you were like first in love.
Right.
And you'd never done it again throughout life because life happened. The pain set in.
Right.
And you didn't want to let it go. I didn't want to let it go. So I've been, now that I'm out, you know, meeting people and dating, I'm on this level of starting something new, right? It's creative. It's a thought that I had of, it's like I see it like a love story, like a Shakespearean love story. Like that's how I want my love to be.
Right.
So I get to be that embodiment of passion, of vulnerability, of like,
I don't think anyone thinks you're not passionate.
you know what? But
I don't think anyone's out there
I
going,
wanna
I wish Deanne was more passionate. I don't think so.
You know, but I think the people I've dated don't really get that part of me.
I'm gonna. Okay.
Like what I've been through, like in like
Right.
the last like 10 years.
Well, I think there's growth in breakups,
Right.
right? There's growth in everything's perception, and it's, you know, are you gonna stay in the pain of it, the hurtful, or are you gonna look at it and go, okay, this is what I could learn from this. I chose a person that wasn't right for me. You know what I mean? And what can I take from that? Because most of the time, our picker's probably off, right? And we keep replacing the same person
All of the time.
and we just change names. But you're dating the same person. And then we want to know, well, why do I keep getting my heart broke? It's because you keep dating the same person with a different name, you know? And so when you get clear and you decide to do something different, then doors will open, your heart will open, you know, and things can change. But if we stay stagnant emotionally, then you will probably continue
The
same circle and
hamster
literally you're just changing names, changing
wheel.
names. Yeah,
I'm
it's
claustrophobic.
yeah, it's not
Get me
good.
off the freaking hamster wheel.
It's not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we have to evolve. We don't have to.
No,
but
you don't have to,
hopefully you
yeah.
don't have to. But
Yeah. So
it's
that's
always a little better
yeah.
if you evolve.
So that's where I'm at right now.
okay. Because I was thinking some of those cards were about me too.
No. I'm saying
No, I'm kidding.
It is about everybody.
No, the Scorpio part, the passionate, and everything you talked
course.
about that, listening to that thing. That's how I ended up starting the company.
Yeah.
Listening to that, actually doing almost everything that I've ever done, like projects, is because of that. Exactly what you were talking about. That thing inside that doesn't stop, and it keeps gnawing at you, and it's saying, you know, you should really do this. You should really do this. And I think the difference is some people listen and then follow it with action, and then some people just ignore it. They ignore it because they're fearful. They ignore it because they're trying to come up with all different reasons of why they can't do something.
Right.
Instead of just saying, you know what, I'm going to do this. And I will figure it out as I go. Penny told her, a really good friend of mine, she says, start with go. And I love that.
Ooh.
Think about that. Start with go. You know, a lot of people will sit there and they'll think about all these things that they can do. And then like 6 months, a year later, they're still thinking.
Yep.
No, jump in, go. Start with go.
Are you guys listening?
With go.
Spirit's literally coming through, and she's literally preaching
Yeah.
about this exactly. This is exactly the message that's coming through. It's that.
Well, that was speaking to me
Yeah.
as well when you were talking about that, because it's exactly how you get businesses off the ground. You start with go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there's anyone out there that's been just sitting there and it's gnawing at you,
Start with go.
your future self,
Yeah.
10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now is here right now telling you, do it.
Go.
It's going to work out. I swear. Just do it, right?
Just start.
Yeah.
It won't work out if you don't do anything.
Exactly.
So take the chance. What's the
and
risk?
you know what? And I want to say, look, another chill. And I want to say, every single thing I've ever tried, I've achieved it.
Right.
Everything. And the things I didn't, they were going to ruin, destroy me. And you know what? No, actually, I've always got everything I wanted. Some of it was stuff I shouldn't have had.
Right.
But because I'm so, what's the word?
Determined.
Yeah. I'm going to get it.
I'm the same way.
There's things that did destroy me.
No, I'm the same.
That I shouldn't have had. But because I am that way, like, I'm going to get this no matter what.
Not everybody's built like
Yeah.
that. You know? Like, I'm never going to jump out of a perfectly flying airplane. That's not the risk I'm going to take, even if you throw on the backpack and all. I'm not going to do, I'm not the zip lining girl. But I will jump in on a dream in 2.2 seconds. You know? I will write a book, even though I don't read books. You know, I will.
On that note,
I will go for I will, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm afraid. What?
Okay, so when you do a card reading, how it works is I pick 3, right? So this is the card reading.
Okay.
So what people always do is they always, whatever the message was at the end, you go to just look at the last card
Okay.
to tell you if you're fucking right. Sorry, no kissing.
Okay.
If you're right.
Yeah.
And it literally says undying love. Did I not? We were just talking about love. And it's a girl with 2 braids and her pretty little necklace with flowers and a dove. And it says, the love you have shared is eternal, regardless of the situation. So this definitely is exactly what we're talking about.
Exactly.
Self-love, you guys, follow that. I love it. On that note, let's talk about Monica writing her first book. Okay, so now I want to hear, how did this happen? What is it about? So let's start with how.
How?
Like what happened? Like, when's the first time you dreamt of this book? Like, when's the first moment God, Spirit, the divine put this thought in your head?
Well, oddly enough, I never thought about writing a book.
Right.
Was never on my to-do list. I never thought about it. What I did want was a record deal when I was younger, which I almost got.
Can you sing?
Girl, you see?
Come on.
I can hold the I could hold the tune. Not anymore.
I forgot. I'm all saying I must sing a lesson.
No.
Sing it,
Those
give
are
us a
my
bar.
old days. Those are my old days. See, back in my day, I was a great dancer.
Jump.
This is during the time of Janet Jackson.
Oh, you guys. Okay,
all the younger girls are not going to know what I'm talking about, but anybody over 40, 39 might know what I'm talking about.
She was a dancer.
Don't say
on
it. Don't say it.
The Soul.
She said it. I told her not to say it.
Tree.
40% of your, no, 60, 80% probably don't even know what you're talking about. But yes, that was true. Early 90s.
I remember when I was little, I'd watch this show and I always be like, I would go out there and bust a move. I think it was, God, how old was I? First grade, second grade? When was Soul Train out?
Oh, it's been out for years, but I was only on
grade.
it in the early 90s when R&B was like R&B.
that was later on.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And,
I watched when I was really little.
And I was on the center stage. Let's make that clear. I wasn't just there. I was on the center stage.
What did that mean? Was it like
Oh, it was
the
crazy.
place to be? Or
oh
like
my God, that was a place
the
to
best
be.
dancers went there?
Exactly.
It was like the VIP area?
Yes.
All right.
That was, I mean, I would get noticed in, airports, and it was a big deal back then, which launched me into...
It was. I remember everyone on Soul Train.
Saturday mornings,
Yeah.
it stopped, right? Like, that was a thing. You would be cleaning for your mom or whatever, and then Soul Train, everybody would stop, and you watch Soul Train. That is what you did.
You just watch the girls just
And the girl, yeah, I mean, my girls, my guys, and it was an era, and it was literally probably one of the most fun times of my life. And to be front row to something so iconic, I mean, Soul Train, you ask anybody in R&B, pop, or hip-hop, or today, they know, they all watch Soul Train.
Epic.
Like, it was a big deal. And for you to get on Soul Train was a big deal. The artists, and to meet Don Cornelius. And I think that's really, what started my journey in music at the time was like, I want to do that. I wanted to do that, and, even then I decided that I was going to do it. And so I wrote on my own music, and I wrote the lyrics, the melody, put a package together. I managed myself. I did my own photo shoot. I did everything. And I had these little packages, and like before that, I used to deliver food to like all these big companies, and they were actually record companies. And I hated it because I was like, one day I want to be in the record. I want to be an artist, but I'm delivering food, like gourmet food. It was horrible. I hated it. But guess what? That all helped me down the line when I wanted to go give my packages out. I knew where all the executives were.
There's a word that my Jasmine and I talk that our business coach Stacia Pierce tells us. It's called prosperity dipping. When you step into the actual places and spaces of what you're trying to manifest.
Changes.
So instead of saying, oh, that was stupid or was dumb.
Right.
You were manifesting and visualizing.
Right.
I'm going to be on that side of the door when I walk in, on that side of the desk when I come in.
But at that time,
because a lot of people aren't even inside the offices.
Well, and it changed, and you're 100% right, because it made it tangible.
Yes.
At the time, I felt embarrassed a little bit, or what I had like a green apron. It was not sexy. There was nothing sexy about it. But what happened is I would walk in and I saw firsthand what the music business at that level looked like. The receptionist, the hustle and bustle, it was a vibe. It was, right. And I was like, I want to be in that, And so I got my package, and I remember even then being so young, I wrote down all the places I was going to go. I made sure my package had my face on it, both sides. It was
it's called a PR package, right?
Yeah, it was a PR package. Okay. And my little cassette, right? 4 songs. I'm gonna.
Do you know what a cassette is?
Nobody knows what a cassette. We should just stop right now.
Have you ever seen one?
Yes.
You have.
Everybody over 30 something is probably like, okay, yeah, but we might be losing some of your people right now.
I haven't seen a cassette forever.
I know. This is things that I shouldn't be saying if you're trying to like date, right? Cassette, Soul Train. This is not good.
Well, shoot, were you trying to date a 5-year-old?
No, I know. No, just, anyway.
I mean, somebody in our age is going to be like, hell yeah, someone else knows what a cassette is.
I'm sure they're probably like, oh yeah, I remember that.
My thing is, if you haven't touched a cassette or seen one, you're too young for me.
You're probably not my friend. Yeah, for real. But wait, because I don't think you know this, and it's in the book, right? By the way, the book, The Next Quiet Voice, it's on Amazon and Audible.
She wrote a book, her first book.
And Deanne may or may not have her own chapter.
I have my own chapter in her book, you guys, which is an honor and a privilege. Like when you told me that, you called me to say, hey, can I tell her story? I said, of course. And just reading it.
I know. I didn't know if I was going to get through it either.
Like we're here because we're trying to make a difference in people's lives, and not until like you see it later on, like, it just hits me, like when somebody's just thanking me and so appreciative. It's just like,
well, what people don't know about you is you changed my life. This woman changed my life. And I will always say that and give that to you. And I always do. Because of you showing me, taking me through, pointing things out. I'm sober 15 years now. And people may know this crazy side of you and this, this fun and whatever, but I know you as Deanne Marlene Munoz, a sober woman of integrity. That's who I know. That's who helped show me the way. And my life has unfolded in ways that I can't even express, because you help show the path. And not even just like you taking me to meetings and reading the book to me, and it was you.
So what we haven't got there,
Oh
but,
yeah, we went from Soul Train to Sobriety.
We met 15 years ago, and during the process of us meeting, I'd had 3 years sober. So everyone knows my story. At 26, I got sober from drugs and alcohol. Around 29 years old, I met her. And in the process, she had been out drinking and partying and, having a good time. So when she met me, well, we actually started dating. And during that process, I was sober. And she never heard of sobriety.
No.
And then so through my sobriety, she ended up getting sober as well. So that's where the book comes from, and everything in her life. So this is what she's talking about right now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, oh God, it seems so crazy that we're here now, and just like even going from like the music to what ultimately happened with that, and it all led me right here, right now,
That is crazy, huh?
Yeah, because to wrap up the music thing, I had one of the best managers. I had all this, and Interscope was going to sign me. Interscope Records. And this guy really believed in me. And you would love this because it's everything we talk about.
Right.
I literally was like, okay, how am I going to get past those doors? Because I've been in there, And I'm like, well, it takes you have like 2 seconds to get past the secretary, and then you have another 30 seconds to get to the executive. Right. So I had my little package. I was already downstairs, and I called. I was in my little Nissan Sentra, whatever, I don't know. I was already there, and I said, hi, can I speak to Mark Benish at Interscope Records? I'm Monica Madrid from Soul Train. That was my in. Now, it's not my fault if he thinks I'm trying to book one of his acts or something. You know what I mean? Like, I said the truth. Oh. Monica from Soul Train, but I just, I got through. I got through.
Wow.
Well, because my friend had said, try Mark Benish, my producer. So I got through, and he said, hi, this is Mark. And I said, hi, Mark. And you have to be quick. And I said, hi, Mark, this is Monica Madrid. I'm a friend of Rob's. He said that you would probably really like to hear my tape. And if you have 3 minutes, I'm outside.
Your sales is freaking like
Bam.
that. You're like laser sharp.
Right?
I'd be like,
Because you just have to be ready, and you have to be there. How would that have sounded if I said, hey, can I come see you? I live in Orange County. What day works for you? No. So he goes, hold on.
And I will tell you something. She's very persistent.
I
She
am.
wants something. She's going to get it no matter what.
And that would be the Scorpio, yes. And that would be the Scorpio in me. Yes. And my mom. Shout out to my mother, who's like Scorpio too, and doesn't mess around. Like always, very gonna get what you need, right?
Right.
So back to little Mark Benish. So he goes, hold on. And I was like, oh my God, I blew it. It's over. Like nothing. And he kept me on hold for a long time.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Remember when I asked him?
Okay,
yeah, I was still on hold. And I was like,
okay.
Ooh, this is not good. And then a lady comes back on. Monica, Mark will see, he only has 5 minutes.
Oh my
And I was like, it was like, oh my God, this is all in the book, by the way. And I'm like, oh my God. And I have my little package.
Like an orgasm?
Oh, close.
Close.
And I walk in, and I see this huge, office, and there's these TVs in the back, and he's in a big like a movie. It's like a movie, and I'm sitting there, and this is important. There's a couple, a rap video behind or something. And so he says, so how do you know Rob? We start talking. Let me see your tape. Tape, so embarrassing. Tape. Played my tape, and he's blasting it. And I'm hearing all my songs that I've written.
Wow.
And then of course I'm because I'm a perfectionist, I'm hearing things I wish I would have changed or whatever. Well, that 5 minutes turned into 6 hours. I was there 6 hours, and he canceled all his plans, and he called. He said, "Do you have a manager?" And I said, "Me." And he goes, "Hold on." Made a phone call. Next thing I know, somebody comes in. Now they're management. He goes, "Do you have an attorney?" I said, "No." And he goes, "I'll be right. Hold on." Calls, "Hey, Peter Lopez," which is the biggest attorney back then. He was handling Janet Jackson, the Eagles, Julio Iglesias, like. All of a sudden, he goes, "Hey, where are you at?" And he's like, "Oh," he goes, I need you to come here. I want you to meet somebody right now. Her name's Monty. Everybody called me Monty back then. Here comes this. So that 5 minutes turned into like, and I'm telling you this.
Sheesh.
Yeah. They were like, we love this. I see this. And they were going to sign me. And then like a week or two goes by, and people are taking my calls, like I don't even have to, like, "Monica, hold on," and you're getting through. All of a sudden, I was starting to call. My calls were not getting answered as fast. And a couple of that, and I knew something was wrong. And finally, he picked up, and he had a different vibe. And he's like, Monty. And I said, "Hey, Mark." And he goes, kind of sighed, and he's like, "I am so sorry." He said, "I haven't talked about this in a long time." He said, "We had 3 meetings about you, and we really wanted to sign you. But our company just went a different direction. You're 6 months too late. The pop division is no longer. We're going in a different direction called gangster rap." And it was really close between Iveen and Tom Fields, I think it was, Ted Fields, and Mark Benish, and the 3 of them. And they decided it was 2 against 1, and Mark wanted to sign me, and the other 2 didn't. And he said, "Instead of signing you, we signed this unknown rapper named Tupac Shakur." Can I cuss right now? Fucked up! Shit! What?
What
Now
the
think about this.
fuck?
At the time,
I'm getting chills.
there was no name. Nobody knew who he was. This is a true story.
Yeah.
I say that to say, let me take a drink on that. Jesus, I haven't talked about this
Oh my God, I haven't heard this either.
in a long time. It's in the book.
Okay.
But what I remember when I said there was a rap video in the back?
Uh-huh.
During that meeting of a 6-hour meeting, he was like, "What do you think about this guy?" And I looked, and I'm like, "He looked cool. He looked cool." I didn't know it then, but I know it now. It was Tupac's demo that
That's so cool.
So if you're gonna lose a record deal to anyone,
Literally you versus Tupac, you're up there.
I guess I can lose to Tupac. I'm okay with that. But it did kickstart my drinking career. Every time I heard Tupac, I'm like, "God damn, he got my money."
On your birthday, I'm gonna make sure I play it.
Oh my God, for a long time. But it was so weird. I never hated him or anything because he was,
Yeah, of course.
I loved his music. But I'm not gonna lie. Woo, I mean, they were talking about the BMW at the time that I should get. I remember he's like, "You gotta get this BMW." I mean, I was there 6 hours, and it was like, and I remember thinking on the way home, I threw away the other packages. I just got a record deal with Interscope.
Wow.
But I tell you to now, I remember telling my girlfriend at the time, and she was not excited for me because I'm like, "I just got a record deal. I was so excited." And she got quiet, and I cannot believe she said this to me, but she said, "Oh," and it was like weird, and I was like, "What is that?" She's like, I'm just concerned." Like, she said something like she was concerned for me or something, and I didn't know what that meant, but it made me mad because I just wanted her to be like really excited for me. Now I look back, and had I got that record deal, I don't know that I would be here talking to you right now. At that time in my life, I don't know that I would have made it here due to my drinking. And even though I wasn't a daily drinker, I was a social alcoholic, and we could probably get into that later.
And we're out all the time.
And we're out all the time. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm like,
Breakfast,
I don't drink at home,
lunch,
so I'm
and
out.
dinner.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go out. But all that to say, you know, that was the first time that I didn't get something that I wanted, and I didn't know how to deal with it, and it definitely showed up in, you know, my drinking. I'm sure of it. But it's a good story. It's a true story, and you know, I think that was a pain. I can't even tell you, that pain was like, that was my dream. And by the way, the book is called.
I do know it. I have a similar.
Yeah, you know, it's.
I mean, I didn't get picked over someone else, but I have the same thing with some directors and everything when I was acting in movies.
Right, and it happened again, by the way. So I'm glutton for punishment, right? But I say that kiddingly. But see, the thing about, I think, you, me, what we were just talking about, is when I feel something and I want to do something, I do it. And I don't always worry about the results, you know, and I've learned that through my program in sobriety, right? It's like I do the work, but I leave the results up to God. Mm-hmm. And now, so as I was writing the book and talking about this whole journey, right, I remember I wanted to do like a where are they now at the end of the book. And it talks about how I got sober and all the things I've learned in sobriety and all these things. And as I was writing about all the people that I looked up to, all the people I wanted to be like, I all of a sudden started like crying because I realized they were all dead. They were all gone. And most of them through addiction and alcohol.
Oh, shit. I got chills.
Yeah, it's in that. Prince being one of them. Vanity. Actually, Vanity took me to my first AA meeting, by the way. But I didn't get sober then.
Yeah.
I give that to you. Not Vanity, just so you know. Yeah, that was weird. But even like just everybody that, even Rick James, which is part of my story as well.
Right.
Drugs and alcohol. And so I say that to say, like, even though the dream that I wanted didn't come true.
Because God knew it was going to take you.
God had another
somewhere.
plan for me because I think I would have ended up
dead.
There's driving over Laurel Canyon at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Those my days were numbered. I could feel it. And after I met you and you told me you were sober, and I remember that it was a spiritual moment. I had no idea what that meant, but I remember this. It was a feeling, and I said, I don't know what she just said, but I know that this woman is about to change my life. I knew it. I knew it. And you did. You did. You know, but the
all I did was open the door and say, through this way is freedom, or you could stay where you're at. And you walked through the door and you did all the work.
But you know what my sponsor said? Valletta, who you actually pointed out. You know, she said, well, because back then, so after the record deal, I got into the real estate business and I did very well and I was very successful. I was running companies and doing all that. And so when we talk about you, I remember Valletta saying
Do you
something.
remember Valletta? Remember the meetings in Crenshaw?
Shout out to the 5 in Crenshaw.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Valletta was there. She was a tomboy, but that
was my sponsor
That's her
for 10
sponsor.
years. For 10 years.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you know what she said? She said, I said, you know, I can't believe I'm sober or something like that. She goes, so, and we talked about you, and she said something like, God knew exactly what he was doing when it came to you and your sobriety. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? And she said, at that time you were making so much money, your ego was ridiculously out of control. You thought you were like the grand poobah, whatever. And God sent you a hot Latina that was sober, and that person was probably going to be the only one you would listen to at that time.
I was like, to get into the AA meetings, I'm like, just follow the boobies.
I was like,
And she
who
was like,
wouldn't follow her, right? I mean, I was like, sober, sign me up. Let's do it. But no, but honestly, it was more than the fact that you were gorgeous and all that. It was your energy and your essence. I remember going to the first meetings with you.
Make sure people get that in the mic.
Your essence. What else would I say?
Energy.
And your energy. Did you hear that? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. But it's true. Like,
you.
and I remember we would walk in to a meeting and I would be like a little kid, like, just like, don't leave me, don't leave me. Be like, hello, everybody. And you were like, always, you know what I'm talking about, right, Jazz? Yeah. She was so happy. And I remember thinking, and I'm being honest, I had money. I had over $1 million house. I had credit, money in the bank, all the things on the outside that you were supposed to have. But inside, I didn't realize I was miserable. I was miserable. So when I saw you, and you didn't at that time have those things.
Nothing.
Right? Can I say it?
Yeah.
We met when we were like,
I was just a
you had
regular
nothing.
girl.
But I wanted what you had. And you had this beautiful essence and positivity, and you were happy. And I'm thinking, well, how is she happy? But I have all the things that are supposed to make me happy. And I quickly realized that things, they're nice, and I still like nice things. Don't get it wrong. Like, I like nice things. I work for my stuff. Don't get it twisted. But I now know it doesn't make me. That's the difference. I know that things don't make me. My grandma said something amazing. I love my grandma. And she said, never fall in love with something that can't love you back.
I've never heard that.
Did you hear that? That was from my grandma, Jeanette
say it again.
Bazensky.
Go,
Never.
Go do a close-up on her, please.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Never fall in love with something that can't love you back. Think about that.
I love that.
Cars, house, and even jewelry, but even if it's a person. Right? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, grandma, I mean, and these are the things that are in my book, really, because my spiritual journey, you know, when that happened, it took a toll on me, not getting that record deal. And even though I was starting to become successful in the real estate business, there was still something broken. And that's why it's called, we're spiritual, it's called how broken dreams can lead to spiritual freedom. Because ultimately those broken dreams led me to you, which led me to a spiritual way of life. But when I came into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous with you in hand in hand, by the way.
Literally.
Hand in hand, by the way.
Intended.
I mean, I realized that something was wrong. Something was broken. I had no God. I had no faith. And all I cared about at that time were the checks, were the commas on my check. Literally. And I was starting to become someone that I hated, honestly. I don't like to say hate, but I really didn't like who I was becoming. And something needed to change. And it did.
It's so interesting hearing you talk right now because you're speaking about Diane Marlene Munoz, this sober woman that you knew for years.
Right.
And all I'm thinking of right now is like, people are watching you thinking like, what are you talking about? Like, everyone knows me. Like, I party. Like,
oh, really?
I'm the party girl. Like, I'm the drinker. Nobody knows me sober other than you and then my and Alex and my ex.
Wow.
You guys are the only people. Nobody in my circle now knew me as like sober Deanne.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sober right now, so obviously like I'm back to that. But
isn't that beautiful? So
listening to you talk, I'm like, they're probably thinking, who's the fuck's talking about? Deanne's crazy.
And she is still crazy. Let's get that straight. But it's interesting, and I don't know if you remember in August. I think, when did you stop drinking? What was your date?
Yeah, August 18th.
Right? See, I'm good, right?
Yes, you are, love.
And the beautiful thing about it is, I believe I sent you your 30-day chip.
60 day.
60 day.
I have it.
60-day chip. And for me, that was a special moment because I got to give you back a little bit of what you gave me. You know, and I know that, you know, you had to have a path that's different, you know, that everybody's on their own journey, my journey. But here we are, 2 sober women sitting in, it is not a 1-bedroom apartment. If anybody, I'm just saying.
It's a $2.5 million home to be exact.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm just saying that little 1-bedroom, you know, it just, I love how it's full circle, you know, and I was actually just with Rose the other day. Shout out to Rose.
Yes, Rose, we love you.
We love you, and we're praying for you. But we were talking about how we're family. Yeah. You know, we all grew up together, you know, and we all had nothing, and to watch everybody succeed, it's just been like, I tease now. My new thing is like, yeah, we're gonna be like what is that? We're
Golden
like,
Girls?
No, we're like Britney and like Ryan and Justin Timberlake. They all grew up together when they were like in the whatever. Golden Girls. I never watched Golden Girls.
Musketeers?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they all started like they. See, and then they all ended up at the top.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, I only know you as a sober woman, and I love that you're sober now, you know, and I hope that you're happy and you seem happy, and I'm so like proud of you and everything that you've created, you know. It's I wish, you know, I wish people got to, if they knew you, like really knew you, well, and I like that you're doing this because I think they're getting to see who you are, you know, other than the time when you ended up with my quarterback.
I'm ready for round 2, Jimmy.
I didn't mean to bring that up. I don't feel like this is the area for that.
She's a Scorpio. She's not going to let anything go.
See, I'm being good right now. I'm being good right now. I'm going to save it for after. He does have my birthday, so I find that interesting too. So
November 2nd.
Yeah, I have to write another chapter. Maybe I'll have to have the next Quiet Voice 2.
2.
Yeah, that might have to happen.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to a meeting soon.
Yes.
Okay. I love it.
That's for sure.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
What did you miss?
Her sounds good?
Did you miss? Like I feel like no, you were like out. Like I always wonder because I've never once I decided to stop drinking February 26, 2008, for me, I've never had another drink since. And I'm a little pissed off because I went out on like Kirin beer and sake. Like if I knew that was going to be my last drink, I would have like done it up. Like what you know what I mean? Like cuz towards my drinking career, I was like drinking.
Binger.
Yeah, I was drinking like the top champagne, the top wines, and that. Yeah. Anyways, so I just wonder, how was that for you? Like,
so I relapsed over our breakup.
do we edit that out maybe or? I'm sorry. Wait, come here. Wait.
Oh my love.
Sorry,
no, I know.
But can I explain that real quick? You can't say that and not let me like get it.
I relapsed.
No, I know.
You didn't play any part.
No, but
I'm responsible for the decisions I make.
But part of why I left that relationship at the time was because I had to get sober for me. And I was you showed me a whole nother world. And I was coming to the realization that it's even hard to say, like, I was an alcoholic, like, because I didn't know the definition of an alcoholic. I was successful. I kept going, I can't be an alcoholic. I have things.
Yeah.
I'm running a company. You know what I mean?
Company, making
a
big
huge
numbers.
company. Like,
Big numbers.
yeah. And so I didn't realize that you could be an alcoholic and still
Functioning.
be a functioning alcoholic. I didn't catch that. I thought it was the bum.
I think the misconception
bum at the
people
liquor
have
store.
is that an alcoholic is like, a homeless person on the street with like a mental illness.
100%.
Not the, multimillionaire
Right.
who's high on the weekends but working during the week.
Right.
Hungover and Just having a great time on yacht with girls.
I knew that this could go bad. I was like, I have no idea what's going to come out on this podcast, but
Yacht with hot girls in bikinis.
so when you went out, was there ever any time?
Oh, that's right. Okay.
What made you come back? I think it's pretty easy to know you had a great time and all that, but what
so
was
the topic of our podcast is, why did I get sober? Right. Which the question's for you too.
Oh, okay.
Why did I get sober? That's yours.
Okay.
Why? So it's, how long are we in the minutes? Oh, really? Oh, shoot. We're good. Damn. Okay. So why did I get sober? Right. And then you can answer yours after. Is last year, or the last few years, we're always having spiritual awakenings. I went to a shamanic 7-day retreat in Arizona. I want to say like 2 years ago in February, March. I had just went through a heartbreak the end of January a few years ago from someone I was dating. And I went on a 30-day drinking binger.
What?
So what we're going to learn, you guys, or if you haven't already learned from my story, is heartbreak for me is
your
the
trigger.
only trigger.
Right.
So I don't want to feel hurt. I don't want to feel heartbroken. And when it does, the first thing I want to do is zone out. I wasn't taught how to processly feel heartbreak, feel pain, and let it transmute and, alchemize it into strength. Nobody taught me that part,
Right.
All I knew is I feel pain. How do we numb it? Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's a huge part of my story is heartbreak.
Right.
Heartbreak's the thing that takes me out every time, everybody and anything. Because in most of my relationships, I got sober because my partner's like, stop drinking.
Right.
And I'm like, okay.
It's
and of
so
course
weird.
I will.
I just can't. I don't.
You don't know me like
I don't
that.
know you like
Yeah.
that. I had no. We were always cool with each other for the most part, but I never saw you really drink.
And
Never.
everyone I've ever dated hates me drunk. Hates me. They've all been like, yeah, we can't do this again.
Wow.
I was always like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. So and
So what made?
okay, so it was February. I went to this 7-day. Just the next few days, I knew there was this big retreat. I wanted to go, and by that end of the 30 days, I was so sick. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of feeling like a victim of love. Like it was very apparent to me. Like my marriage too. When I was like on a 4-year drug binger. I did think, well, this is nice. It was only 30 days. It wasn't a 4 years. I was thinking in my head, it's getting smaller.
You're getting better. You're getting better.
That's what I was thinking.
Right.
And then it just my spirit said, like, no, it's just time to learn how to walk through that. I signed up for this retreat and it was 7 days, no cell phone. I was in Arizona.
And you did it?
And I did it.
Wow.
And I want to say that was like another defining moment, because there's lots of defining moments before that, but
Right.
this was the recent one that I was like in this retreat for 7 days, just thinking like, it's about me. Like I have the power. Like I can walk through, like I can love again. Like I could do this. And obviously I like the drinking subsided, but what happened was I decided to jump in full time as a healer. I came out of there so alive. My eyes were white. I was like elevated. And I said, I want this feeling every single day. So in that, as me, working as like shamanic and healing and, coming into a whole different area of, spiritual working as a spiritual teacher, that whole year, I became the embodiment of transformation, of light, of love, and, learning how to transmute it and saying, well, now I want to give this to other people. So during it, I was still drinking. I wasn't, crazy like the way I had been prior years. And throughout that year, like there was that little like,
That thing.
was this really that fun? It wasn't really that fun this time. And the next drinking fine time still wasn't really that fun. So it just, the funness started like dropping.
Right.
It was no longer fun drinking. And during the times I'd be hungover, I'd miss like, I pay like what, $100,000 a year for a mentor, my business mentor. I'm missing, $5,000 1 hour Zoom calls.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Because
crazy.
I'm too hungover.
Right.
Like weekend retreats. I'm like, oh, I party towards the night before. I'm not going to make it.
And I hate to say it, but as we get wiser, you like
They're
that? I'm still in her house. I'm like, wiser. As we get
They're
wiser,
worse.
you don't come back the same.
Yeah.
It takes you out for days. I mean,
100%.
days.
And at that point, that was it. It just, my body like was spiritually telling me, like it was no, like when you start learning a little more about quantum physics, there is a vibrational frequency on a cellular level to people who are happy, so physically, to be drinking, it lowers your vibrational frequency.
And it's a depressant.
And it opens, so just me knowing like demons and angels, when you're drunk, you are now an open to spirits, which means lower entity spirits. So if you see some people always want to fight when they're angry or anything, because you are an open channel to every spirit that comes around. And when your vibrational is that low, demons come flying in left and right. I don't care how spiritual you are. So the drinking started feeling icky.
Right.
I started feeling icky. Like I was feeling that, like when I would drink, I could really feel like coming in, and I'd be like, what was that? Like that was so weird. And through that, I was like, it started happening. And then this year, it was the end of last year. It was Jasmine's birthday. I think it had been like a 3-week bender. And I literally already knew, like we were 7 days in Jamaica. Amazing time. But when we came home, I was just like, I'm ready to be a full-time sober woman again. And I'm going to be like, and God had told me, Spirit told me, my ancestors told me, mind you, 46 last year, I'm going to be 47, right? Yeah. Spirit had specifically said, Deanne, you're behind. You're supposed to already be this global, worldwide name, healing people. I can't take you. I can't
Drunk.
I can't take you. Yeah, I can't
Right?
take you into
I mean,
those rooms to sit with those people.
Like this.
Because you can't hold that frequency.
Right.
You can't hold their elevation, their responsibility, the duty that they're holding for the collective, for the world as healers. You can't, Deanne. You're physically unable to. And I was given that very, very clear message. We were in Jamaica. And asked myself, my question, what's more important? Drinking or me living my life's calling? And my life's calling is like everything to me. Like it's my deepest love. And that was it. Never touch it again. And because I know, and literally, where are we at? 8 months later, I have this freaking insane house.
Yeah.
Like everything in my life I've literally quantum leaped. What would have taken me 5 years drinking?
Yeah.
I got in 8 months.
And I could get it too if they all just give me about $100 if you want the address.
Subscription.
I could make a good okay, I would never sell you out like that.
So if you want my address,
want my
go
address,
to eBay and message her.
There you go.
Highest bidder.
No, it is. It's gorgeous.
So I got sober, not because there anything horrible had happened.
It's a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine was a spiritual bottom too.
Because I knew my next level was going to require me to have pristine, crystallized energy.
Right.
Like untainted. And for me to take that kind of responsibility on a global level, like I'm hearing global. So I'm ready, because I'm putting this out there. God's already told me I'm going to be global working with people. He needs me to be like in the top 1% of the world.
Right.
Like I need to be on it
Right.
spiritually. And as I've been sober the last 8 months, I've received these gifts of prophecy. I can see things, clarity. I hear things before they happen. on like 100 folds of ever, and everything just makes sense. It's just like God lifted this like fog, and everything is just like the veil between the 3D realm here and the spirit world. Like God's lifted it for me. Like I can see both.
Right.
When people talk to me, I can see like their loved ones speaking to me to tell them something. Like I can see like this veil between people. That other people just talk to people and they're just like, oh, but I'm like, oh, I'm seeing what's really being said to me while you're speaking.
Well, I mean, in 8 months, look at the difference.
Yeah.
And I actually was talking to Jasmine off camera, and I'm like, how do you feel about your mom being sober? And she says, I love it. And to me, that was like everything, you know? And listen, for people that can drink, great. Some of us can't.
Yeah.
Some of us, the drink takes us to a whole different path, a spiritual emptiness, a spiritual bankruptcy that is very hard to explain if you're not one of us. And but yeah, I mean, it's that first year was not easy, you know, to stop physically drinking.
So some people get sober numerous times. I'm one of them. And when we were in a 12-step program together, you hear people saying that the obsession was lifted. My first 3 years of sobriety, I hit a meeting every single day. My first year, I hit 3 meetings a day because it was a struggle. The first year of my sobriety ever at 26, I was in 3 meetings every single day for a whole year. And there was no relief of the obsession to drink. Today, August 18th, my last drink, my whole entire body does not even remember what it felt like. The obsession has been lifted. Right. I haven't craved it, haven't thought about it. I've been in a room with people drinking. There's nothing like, I don't even get like a little, oh, I wish, nothing.
Right. Yeah.
Not even like, oh, I want a little like first drink reprieve. No, nothing.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I feel that naturally.
Right.
I'm so high off life right now.
Right.
For me to take a drink would lower me into an icky, ugly feeling. Because we've done the work.
Right.
I've already done the work. We just needed to get that little thing out of the way.
That first year, very difficult to stop the physical drink.
Yeah.
And I had to find my way. I tried the Red Bull thing, not a good idea. Because then I drank the Red Bull like I drink. So I was like, whoa, like... It was like, I thought I was going to die. Literally, I was like, okay, can't drink Red Bull. So I had to like find my drink, but I didn't want to give up the sexy. So then I had to find like a good, I didn't even know there was a thing called mocktail, but I needed at the time to find a drink that looked sexy because I still wanted to like look cool in a club or whatever. And so it is a journey. And now, and even then, like there were certain places I didn't go for a long time. I stopped going to the Abbey. Shout out to West Hollywood. You know, at the time, there were certain.
I don't go to a lot of places, not because people are drinking, but because it's low vibrational frequency.
Right.
It doesn't.
Well, we've changed.
Feed me.
Yeah, like now
feed
I don't.
My soul.
No, baby. But now it's like I can go anywhere and do anything. I'm a free woman today. Alcohol does not drinking has not. It doesn't stop me from doing anything. Yeah. I go everywhere. I have no fear of it. Yes. I'm just a happier, sober woman with a little bit of integrity. You know what I mean? And
a lot of integrity.
You know what I mean? And I remember everything. Like I remember, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember.
Everybody in my life tells stories all the time, and I'm always like this.
What, you'll get it back.
No,
you'll get it back.
No, it doesn't come back.
No, it doesn't come back. Okay. Well, maybe it's better. Maybe it's better. See,
but it's just funny. Like everyone has, even to this day, like they'll be talking about something. They're like, "Remember this?" And I'm like,
"No." Yeah, I don't remember. There's a lot I don't remember either. Like,
and they're like, "What happened that day?" And I'm like, "No, I was drinking." They're like, "Well, you weren't drunk." I'm like, 2 drinks, blacked out automatically. 2 drinks in, blacked out. Always, not even drunk yet. I mean, not that it mattered, but I had 0. I blacked out so easy.
Oh. That's the worst. When you wake up and you literally have no idea.
That was every day.
What happened? Like that was, and oh God, I hated that. I hated that. But I always knew if I was with someone, I knew.
Oh, that
You-
one.
right?
I tell you, everyone I've dated hates me drinking.
Oh my god!
No, and in the morning
that
that I'd be looking at them and I'm like, oh shit.
No, here's it right.
Fill it out.
No,
I
no.
was like,
Here's how I
I was
knew.
like, can I suck
I
your
remember.
dick?
Oh god.
When
Really?
they say no, I'm like, shit, I'm really,
Oh, you're
he's
really-
really mad. He should know to my
See,
blowjob.
mine wasn't like that. Mine
yours.
was mine. See, here's how that goes: the lesbian version and this version, right? Mine was if we wake up and like I'm not like getting that little cuddle thing going on. I was like, ooh, okay, that's not good. But at least they were in the bed, so I knew I wasn't too bad, right? I wasn't too bad, right? I'm like, I'm still in. This is savable. This is savable. It's savable. The day is savable.
Her bag's not packed.
The bag's
She's
not
actually next
packed.
to me.
She's still in the bed.
Did you ask them like what happened?
No, no, you never ask that. That's how you know you're not one of us. You never ask that, right? No, we're gonna act like we know we did nothing wrong. Right? Act like, that's the thing. You gotta just get up and act like everything's cool and then wait. Wait for it to drop. Right? But if I wake up and they're nowhere to be found, they're not in the bed, that's when you're like, oh shit, things went bad. Things went awry. Things went awry. But
Wait,
then,
I think it's even worse if I'd wake up and I wasn't in my bed.
oh, that was a whole nother level.
Have you had that happen where you're like, what?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's
then
the thing.
You can't explain that to your partner.
It's not good. Like, and you, I don't want to go there, but I would just tell you that for me, I just couldn't take those chances anymore. Yeah. And like, I'm a monogamous person. I've always been a monogamous person. But on a drink, I don't care who you are. I don't care how in love. You're not yourself. You're doing things that you're gonna regret and that you would normally never do. And for me, at a certain age too, like it's just not cute anymore. It's just not cute anymore to be that girl. And I'm not, like I said, for those that drink and are fine, it's great. Like, but for me, I just couldn't do it anymore. And I always say, like, some people would be like maybe some people are listening right now and they're wondering if they're an alcoholic or not. And when I speak, I like to say, I could probably never tell you whether you're an alcoholic or not. You were kind enough to tell me I was a freaking alcoholic. I was like, that's rude. Like, you were like, oh yeah, and I was like, God, take it easy. What? But
no, it was so funny because she'd be like, so you think I'm alcoholic? I was like,
Did you have like a valid reason, or is just because like what was, or just because you were newly sober, so anyone that would even socially drink would bother you?
no, she. Oh,
easy,
go ahead, go.
easy. Watch what you're gonna say right now. Watch what you're gonna.
So did you have actual valid like reasoning behind that, or just because you were newly?
So much reasoning,
traits.
like you said, like I can't diagnose her, but
The
I
traits.
mean, she was a drinker, and mind you,
So
she
is-
wasn't mean or anything. She's a fun alcoholic.
Yeah.
She was the life of the party.
Yeah.
She'd get the biggest bottles, and she'd be drinking for a good time. So I didn't have a bad experience of it.
Yeah.
She's
But
just
she
like me, like
recognized
she
it.
loves to party. So,
yeah.
But you
when
recognize that.
yeah.
though.
So when
Yeah.
she was like, "You think I have a drinking problem?" I was like,
Well, we should have known I had a drinking problem when I started the Sports Sundays in West Hollywood and got all the lesbians together to play sports on Sunday. But you can't play, softball with me unless you're gonna drink beer on the bases. You can't go to the next base
That's an
until
alcoholic.
until you drink, and the home run doesn't count unless you do a shot of tequila.
So if we think that's fun, are we alcoholics?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like she
Everything.
She was a functioning alcoholic.
Yeah.
That's what she says. She was functioning. Like
Yeah.
she was fun. Like even this last run, it was freaking fun.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm on yachts. I'm like traveling.
Yeah.
I'm partying. Like
Yeah.
like when I'm like my fun drunk times was a fun time. Like
Right.
this time around wasn't like at 26. It was different. I was suicidal. Like drugs. Like that was really bad. This time around was like woo until time came of like me being like, this isn't working for me.
Right.
Like I needed it was still missing something.
Right.
And that's when I was like, yeah, it's time to
And that's the
Step into
thing.
that.
I think that.
go ahead, take over this. I'm gonna go pee.
Oh,
This is your camera.
So now the way to do it, I'm not singing, I'm not dancing. Jasmine's gonna talk to me. Okay, go. You're gonna ask me questions.
What were you guys touching on? I forgot right now.
Sobriety, but you can ask me anything you want.
So when she was telling you that she's like, yeah, you're an alcoholic, how do you feel about that?
I thought that was rude.
Did you believe her, or you're like, no, I'm not?
You know, I think, it's weird, but my father, my biological father, was an alcoholic, and I loved him to death, and we drank together, and we watched the 49ers together. I'm a big, sports fan. So I knew what that looked like, but I didn't have enough, thought to turn that on me. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I just didn't think I was.
Yeah.
But when she said it, I believed her. Mm-hmm. Your mom, she's like, she tells the truth. You know what I mean? Like, she's not going to mince words. And so when she said it, I definitely was like, huh. And then watching her, and then by going to the meetings, I started to hear other people talk about their stories, and I started to relate. Mm-hmm. I started to identify. And I started to hear people like my story, people that had things, people that were successful, right? And still end up in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, But yeah.
And were you hesitant when she first invited you to a meeting, or you were like, okay, let's go?
Look at your mom. I would have gone anywhere with her.
But you didn't really think that much into it. You were just like, at first, just going just to go.
No, at first I was a little scared. Not scared, but just like one eyebrow up.
You got to see what it's about and whatnot.
So before your mom, I had a whole, again, during that whole music thing, Vanity at the time. You remember Vanity 6? Yeah, You're too young. Okay, shout out to all the 40 plus people. Vanity was a good, remember that song Sex Shooter? No? Or no, that was Apollo. No.
Oh.
Anyway, have you heard of Prince?
Yes.
Work with me here.
I've heard of Apollonia.
Close. She was like a version of Apollonia.
Okay.
Anyway, she took me to my first meeting, and I say that to say, I thought it was really weird. I was a little freaked out, but when I went with Deanne, it was different. And sometimes you're not ready, right? Mm-hmm, yeah. So I was more open to it
like
now.
Dipping your feet in the water.
Yeah, and again, like Deanne's energy, and I just remember thinking I wanted what she had. Yeah. So if this is how I get it, then I'm down. Like, take me. Like, I'm ready. Yeah. I'm ready to go. And I would just Crenshaw, honestly, Crenshaw, the 5 meeting changed everything.
How long did it take after the first meeting she brought you to that you decided for yourself, you were like, this is my last drink, I'm not drinking after that? How long after meeting her or dating, whatever you want to call it?
Probably a year, close to a year, I think, because I was in a situation and I knew I was hurting Deanne, and I knew that something wasn't right. And I knew that I couldn't continue because I was like, I don't call it relapsing because I never really got sober. Yeah. I was just kind of checking it out and hanging out with her. I was just
like a hang around.
Sober curious.
Yeah, I was just
like a hang around.
Well, I mean, I was dating a sober woman, so
that's true. So you're not going to drink as much around.
Yeah.
With me.
So I got the vibe, but on February 26, 2008, after I ended 2 situations, I knew I had to get sober. Like an
you had like an awakening.
Oh yeah. It was like driving down in my car, by the way, had all the things, driving in my little Mercedes, all that, and bawling. Because why am I not happy? What is wrong with me? And it was a spiritual
malady.
Yeah, it was a spiritual malady that nothing could fix. And so, oddly enough, I called both fathers. One was an alcoholic who is now sober, by the way. My dad got sober. So my dad had 6 years of sobriety when we met. Yeah. And my father, who raised me since I was 2, I had 2. So I called one, and I said, hey, again, Deanne had already kindly told me that I was an alcoholic. Let me just run this by somebody else. Most people don't do this, by the way, I don't think. But I called my dad, my Papa Joe. I'm like, hey, Dad, you know, do you think maybe I'm an alcoholic? And he, you know, wasn't a very like spiritual man.
Yeah.
But he said something really spiritual to me. He said, hey, kid, I wouldn't be the one that could tell you that. That's something that you'll have to figure out on your own. That for my dad was like, because we talk about sports and drinking and parties. So.
That's why God sent me to you.
Ex-
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Exactly. Then I called my other dad because when you're a kid, you get to call at least 2 or 3 people, right? I'm like, I didn't like that answer. You did not help me whatsoever. I need a yes or a no. Yes or no. So I called my other dad, which is completely different than Papa Joe. I called like hippie dad. Hippie, free-loving Crosby, Stills, and Nash dad.
Yeah.
He'll tell me, Dad, hey, just out of nowhere, by the way, Dad, do you think maybe I'm an alcoholic? And he got quiet, and he's like, well, I wouldn't be able to tell you that.
Oh, no.
He said, that's something you're going to have to figure out for yourself.
Oh, my God.
And I literally said
that.
Well, that's some bullshit.
You're like, I'm going to take that as I'm not.
But then he said this. He got quiet and he said, but this was, he said, but if it turns out that you are an alcoholic and you find yourself in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, you will be okay. And he just passed 3 weeks ago.
Gosh.
So I've
Sorry.
no, it's okay. But it's these are like happy tears in a way because they both aren't here anymore. But they both helped lead me with you and to this like sober life, which I wouldn't give up for anything. You know?
Me neither.
I wouldn't give it up for anything. I always tell people, a lot of people will say sobriety is the best thing that ever happened to me. Oh, I like to say it's the best thing I ever had to work for. Because there is a little bit of work. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, so getting sober, removing alcohol doesn't solve your problems.
No.
I mean, you won't have any more hangovers. You're gonna lose a lot of weight.
And the skin will.
Yeah,
the
you're gonna be glowing.
Yes.
Like you're gonna be top notch. But you have to remember when you're doing drugs, when you're getting high, when you're drinking on a daily basis, it's because you're numbing out from some kind of issues. So without doing the inner work, you're going to end up like, we call it kind of like a dry drunk. Where you're just going to, those voices in your head, that pain is just going to be getting louder and louder without any reprieve. Is that the word?
Right.
Reprieve?
Right.
Reprieve?
Reprieve.
Reprieve. Why can't I? Reprieve. And as you go into a 12-step program, you know, there's steps to take to get to the underlying issues of like, you know, alcohol is just a Band-Aid. Drugs isn't Band-Aid. Getting high is just a Band-Aid.
The work.
Because being sober hurts.
Yeah, it's not fun. That first year is a bitch.
Being sober is uncomfortable
With your feelings.
because you don't know the how to truly what happiness is, because there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of issues that are really loud. So getting into a program, you know, a 12-step program, there's 12 steps that you go through. And I always say it's very similar, like with life coaching, you know, like, you know, there's a lot of things that we do when we do trauma work. It's like the 4th step.
Right.
So when I got into the spiritual side, and, you know, sometimes I learned by accident, you know, that's like, oh, it's a retreat for trauma. You're like, this sounds fun. Thinking,
No, it doesn't.
Thinking
No,
I'm going to go do sound
You're
bowls
right, yeah.
and meditate.
And they're like, no, right?
No, when you get there, yeah, not only that, but you got to scream, you got to punch pillows, and you got to say the person's name. And I was like, well, at the end of the line, I'm like, how do I get out of here? Where's the yoga?
Oh my
and
God.
the yogurt?
No, and the yogurt.
Chocolate covered strawberries.
Sipping cacao.
Yeah, we're sipping cacao and
no.
staring into the sky.
Oh no.
And every time I do one of those, I always think about the 4th step.
Yeah.
And I always say, oh my God, the 4-step.
Can I talk about the 4-step?
Yes, that's what it is.
So
That's where the medicine is.
that is where the
That's
medicine,
the medicine.
is. This was shocking news to me.
Oh no,
I
Monica.
didn't know that in every resentment ever that I had a part.
Yes. Oh.
What? What news to me? Wait a minute.
Oh my God.
I'm pissed off at you because you screwed me over and I have a part?
Yes.
Can't be.
I had the same
Can't
thing.
be. Wait, so check, you'll appreciate this. So Valletta, shout out to Valletta. We're gonna so when you get sober and if you do that, you don't have to do this, by the way, but if you do, which I wanted to, I was like ready to do anything.
Anything. Just
So the 4 columns, right? So you write down this, and I swear, I think every person in the world should do this.
it. Yeah,
and
yeah.
I like really pay attention right now. I'm
and
telling
we do
you.
have. If you're not at 12 steps, go do a trauma workshop.
Or just do what
it's
I'm
gonna
about to
be
tell
the
you to do.
exact thing,
Or
yeah.
just do this, swear to God. 4 columns, boom, right? First column, the fun column. Who pissed you off?
Yes.
Easy.
Oh.
Dan, right?
I think I think I had like a 20 pages list.
Oh, I remember I would be driving down the car, driving down the road, and be like, "Oh, and I remember her from 7th grade.
Yes.
No, put that bitch on there." Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, so your sponsor tells you. Your sponsor
no, you don't
says,
have to. But for
mine
me, I just kept going because now now it's kind of fun. I'm like, yeah, you know, I had Nike on there, just so you know. Nike always has the best shoes for men. I threw them on there too, like whatever.
Yeah,
But-
so my sponsor had said, Deanne, I want you to make a list of every single person that's ever bothered you or irritated you your entire life. And I said, oh, this is easy. She said, literally, like, she's like, go all the way back to your earliest memory in preschool. So I was like, that guy Peter did not kiss me back in the playhouse
God.
when I was 5 years old. But wait, listen to this. This is a repeating pattern.
But that's what I was
That
gonna say.
repeated my entire
Exactly.
life. And when you have to read it later on to your person. I said, and we were like halfway through, and I looked at her and I said, if I ever have a resentment for someone not wanting me, shoot me.
Right.
I said it so many times, and I was just like, oh my goodness.
That's the beauty, right? So let's go back for a minute because where you just got is like that's it. That is everything. The key, right? So the second column, what did they do to hurt you?
Yeah, that's fun too.
That was great too. Well, you know,
They did this,
they
and
lied,
that,
they
and
whatever.
this, and that.
Okay, so normally we stop there as humans.
That's exactly.
I'm mad at you. This is what you did, and then it stops. Right?
The blame game.
The blame game, the victimization. So here's where, for me, I always say for me, where the spirituality, the next level,
Spiritual awakening.
the spiritual awakening comes from is, well, what did it hurt in me? What hurt? What did it affect? It affected my sexual, it affected my finances, it affected safety. And all of a sudden you write this down and then, this is funny. So I'm done. I call Valletta, I'm done.
She missed the whole fourth count.
Yeah.
Column.
So I go over her house because the 5th step is you read it to somebody that you trust, right? So I'm going to read it to her as I'm all excited because I just want to get to 12. I want to graduate. So I realize you don't graduate. Nobody told me that either. But so I get there and she looks, she goes, this is great. She goes, well, where's the 4th column? And I go, what 4th column? She goes, your part. And I go, but I don't have a part.
I did the same thing.
Bro, I gotta have a
I walked in
part.
and I said, I didn't do anything to any of these people.
I didn't do anything wrong. This is all their fault.
That's exactly what my.
And she looked at me and she laughed and she just shook her head almost like I'm a payback to her because I have a feeling her shit was empty too at one time. And she just looked kind of laughed. She was like, oh no, you have a part. She goes, I'm gonna help you. we're gonna jumpstart this. And she did the first 1 or 2. She's like, maybe this or that. And I was like, what do you mean my expectations? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What do you mean I already knew this and you still did this. You already knew this is who they were and yet you still hung out with them or you still dated them or whatever that is. And I was like, ooh.
Accepting people's behaviors.
Right. And so you do all this, and what happens is when you read it, all of a sudden you're seeing the same things over and over and over. Whew, right? And then now you're like, it's jumping at the page at you, and you're like, okay. And I don't know what yours was. Like when I really looked at,
I'll tell
you know, mine, I'm sure.
Oh no, I don't know yours.
One of mine, like main things was expectations. Like I expect like
People to
you
behave a certain way.
to behave the way I would behave. And when
Yeah.
that was not coming back to me, I was livid and angry and resentful. And all of that starts the pattern on top of drinking. So now I wake up angry, resentful, right?
Yep.
And today I don't wake up like that. And again, like this doesn't happen overnight, but slowly but surely,
Yeah.
one healthy decision at a time, looking at yourself. And there's all these things that I would hear in the meetings, like if you're pointing one finger, be careful because there's four pointing back at you, you know? Religion is for people who are afraid to go to hell. But spirituality is for people who've already been
Been to
there.
hell.
And I was like, God, I love that one, you know? And all these little things start, you know, becoming a part of who I am. And they call it like these spiritual tools. So like the 4th step is something that I never forgot. Once I did it once.
Yeah.
So now you just start learning like, okay, I'm really upset with this person, but what's my part? The hard part is dealing with people that have none of this, and now you're like, God, I really
That
wish-
won't see
like,
their part
that
in
won't see their
situations.
part, and so I still
take responsibilities.
have to deal with that because
Yeah.
my expectations, right? So it's just learning, you know, how to live in this life.
My first 4 step, you know, going through same thing. I literally showed up, and I had.
Of course, this is why.
I still don't have any part in all
my
of it.
God.
I was like, I didn't do any of these people wrong.
No,
So going through it, I also didn't know that me not speaking up is my responsibility.
right? Not setting a boundary.
Yes. So
Right? Yeah.
things that I didn't even know. So my number one thing on there, my part was not saying no. I was a people pleaser. I was a people pleaser, and I was afraid.
And I was saying yes.
I was afraid of confrontation.
right.
So I just
disappointment.
I just said yes to everything. So all my resentments were, I had to do that, and then they were like, "What do you want to do?" I'm like, "Oh, I didn't want to do it. Why didn't you say no?" And I was like, I was afraid to speak up. So everything was afraid to speak up, 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 afraid to speak up. No, I knew that's the first page. Second page, afraid to speak up. You're on page 20.
Yeah, no.
Afraid to speak up.
Yeah.
And I looked at her and I said, if I'm ever afraid to speak up again, that whole year, I said no all the time. I was like, no.
well, I can attest that you're
No.
very good at
Say
saying no.
I will. That if I ever
Not to
have
me,
to
but
repeat
I'm.
that- yeah.
But I
know.
you.
Speaking of boundaries
Right.
is huge. And the second thing that was humongous to me that changed, I think, the whole trajectory of, you know, my forgiveness with my ex-husband was his name was on there. She's like, you only supposed to put his name one time. I said, but this is how many times.
Right.
Like it was repeated and it was cheating on me, 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 cheating. And then she literally looked at me. She goes, okay, just read the first time. I read it. You know, this girl, Nicole, cheated on me. Mind you, 16 years old. I'm repeating that same name till I'm 26 years old. And she goes, what's your part? She's like, when somebody does something once, that's on them.
Right.
You knew
Yep.
when you forgave him the first time,
Right.
he was a cheater. You took
stayed.
back a cheater.
Right.
You consciously had a relationship with a cheater. And then she asked me, so what were you mad about?
Right.
She's like,
You allowed it.
No, that's exactly what she said. She goes, you made a conscious decision to have a relationship with a cheater.
Right.
And you're mad at him for cheating. She's like, what's your part here?
Right.
My part was staying with a cheater. Whether he said he was
Right.
never going to do it, it doesn't matter. He was a cheater.
Right. Right.
And I was like, wow.
I know
It's
it
completely
sounds
true.
so like duh, but it's
That really
it's
was
life changing.
eye-opening.
Right.
And I
It's
was just
eye opening.
like, I really cannot get mad at him for all those other 50 girls' names.
Right. Because you stayed.
Because I stayed.
Right.
I stayed.
Right.
That was what I learned.
Right.
The 100% responsibility is I stood with a cheater.
Right.
Oh my God. I just had to leave. That was it.
Right. Well, I mean, after the force, that shouldn't you think that's a lot, right? Like, okay, well, no, there's a 9th step.
Oh my God. That was even worse.
Oh, that's probably another podcast,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
definitely.
I think we gave him too much.
Okay, so that is why I got sober. And we heard, why? What would you want to say why you got sober? Let's make it
Quick.
lasered.
Why did I get sober? Waking up in the morning, there was no life in me. There was no life. I hated my mornings, and I don't like to use the word hate, but I had nothing to give anyone. I could feel nothing. I was just like a shell. I had no God, no nothing. I was just miserable, like blackness, just a spiritual bankrupt.
Yeah.
I mean, and now literally, Deanne, and I know that you, like, I wake up now, and not every day is perfect. We know that. But I wake up literally every day, and the first thing I think, thank you. Like, swear to God, thank you for allowing me to wake up. Thank you for the gifts of my life. Thank you for the people that are in my life. And then it's like, let's go. Like, let's go, you know? And I didn't used to wake up like that. I used to wake up, literally, the first thing I used to think about was, what did I do last night? I was regretful, angry. That is no way to live.
Right.
That is no way to live. And that is, like, legitimately, I think the reason that I knew that something had to change is the mornings. Because if you don't wake up and you go to sleep like that too, like, you're just existing barely.
I always say it's you're like a walking corpse,
Yeah.
merely existing versus living life.
And now
Living life.
it's like living life. Like, and listen, I've lost 2 fathers, 2 dogs, a grandma, an uncle, another grandma. I have friends in my life that are fighting for their life right now.
Been through heartbreak?
Breakups that were not easy, even sober. And I got nothing to drink it down with, right? So, you know, chocolate, whatever. Sugar's a whole nother thing. But my life isn't easy, but it's beautiful, right? It's like, I'm happy. I know who I am. I know that regardless of what the next day is or the next year, or like, I'm always going to do the right thing. And I sleep well at night. And that's the thing. Like, can you sleep well at night with who you are? To me, and that's what I talk about in the book, is like success, right? What is your definition of success? Like, my old definition before drinking looked very different than how my definition today is. You know, to me, the definition today as a sober woman is, am I okay with who I am? And am I spreading joy? Am I spreading, like, am I trying to help others? Am I, you know what I mean? Because as an alcoholic, one of the biggest traits is selfishness.
Hell yeah.
I'm not even going to lie. I was the one, when you get there and, like, you want to see, like, the sunset and all that, I will beat you to the best seat at dinner. Like, and now I'm like, where would you like to sit? Like, even though I really don't want to sit with my back against the ocean, but I'm looking at my sister, or I'm looking at my date or my family member, and no, I want them to have the view. Like, that's as simple as I can make it. Like,
Right.
because before I literally would cut
All
you
about
off,
me.
do whatever, because I want the best view. don't get me twisted. Like if I can find a way that I can like sneak in there and there's like an oval booth, then I'm down. But you know, just the little things of actually just thinking about others versus it was all about me. I'm not saying I'm still, you know, selfish, I'm sure in some points.
I think there's a difference between
But it's
self-love
different.
and selfish.
Yeah, it's
Self-love is
different.
deserving
It's
versus
different. It's different.
not thinking of anybody else.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like a daily challenge to be selfless. Every day you have to wake up and choose that, because we're human. We're born. I don't know if you want to go biblical, but we're born sinners. We're born to be bad. Born to be bad.
I was gonna say that's a song,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Born to be wild.
Oh yeah. But yeah,
Well-
but I do believe that, like, even this morning I was like checking myself, like, be humble, be patient. You know, 'cause every day I live with them, and you know, I see. No.
Let me help you right there.
Way. But I see more success. Like I'm like,
Nah, I'm
damn,
kidding.
like I'm over here, boom, 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 boom. But I'm like, it's okay. God has me right where He wants me. And
But that's
You know?
the thing, and like honestly, like your definition doesn't have to be my definition. Like there are people that want to.
I don't consider any of the money I make success.
That's me neither.
It's just a blessing.
And I give, right?
A blessing.
But 100%, like I think it's successful if there's somebody that loves to surf and they want to travel around the world and surf and live check to check. Hell yeah, that's successful. They're doing what they love. The monetary things, again, I go back to my grandma. Like I know now, because I lost a lot, and it's in the book too. When I got sober, I lost everything. I had to rebuild. Like I went from here to here in my sobriety, and I knew that if I did it once, I could do it again. But this time I'll do it sober, and I'll do things different. You know what I mean? So I guess what I'm trying to say is you can be sober. Doesn't mean, like you said, doesn't mean you get this perfect life. No, there's still work to do. There's still, you know, things that need to be, you know, reworked or lessons relearned but I wouldn't give this life up for nothing. A day at a time. A day at a time, you know? Yeah. I mean, to be honest, in my book, I didn't realize this till the other day. It says, page 335, I think. Because somebody showed it to me. Somebody said something. They go, you know, because, you know, I'm starting my company, Football Sexy.
Yeah.
shout out to the camera. Shout out your book, your company, all that. You only have 1% left.
Okay, go follow Football Sexy. Go get The Next Quiet Voice. It is on Amazon and Audible. And you might hear a little bit about this situation and sobriety. What I was going to say is even in that book.
The links will be on the YouTube description, you guys. So just go down to the bottom, scroll. You can get her new book. And she is on Instagram as Football is Sexy. She has her brand new podcast, which I'm a guest as well.
Yes,
You
it's
guys
gonna be
don't want to
fun.
miss that.
Yes, that's going to be a
yeah.
whole nother level. Yeah. But to wrap that up, it said, maybe one day, this was years ago when I wrote it, maybe one day you'll hear me talking about football in a way that nobody else has ever heard. I got chills when I was like, again, I manifested that years ago, and now look at what I'm doing. I have a mobile app out, apparel, all with Football is Sexy. Exactly. That's why I was exactly. So
That was the topic of today.
there it is.
Mary Magdalene, love yourself, others, and every situation, no matter what the outward appearances. Mm-hmm. With that note, we are going to close this out before all the phones stop on us. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much.
I love you. You know that. I love you. It's so beautiful that we're here after all this time.
Yes.
Really, right?
And just so everybody knows, all my exes love me. Thank you.
Here we go. Did you do your fourth column?
With you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I did mine with you. So we're still here. See? Everybody has a part. Everybody has a part. See? We're going to talk about it after the... Yeah. That's funny. And we're going to a Raider game.
Yes.
Damn it.
Let's go to lunch. I'm starving.
Let's
All right,
do
guys. We love you. Sending good juju, good vibes. I'll see you next time. Sacred Soul